Today we're going to talk about limits of fiscal policy and the 2020 stimulus. The limits of fiscal policy are that they are often an educated guess with the information available, which can affect the efficiency of these policies. This basically means it's hard to understand aggregate supply and demand and GDP in real time, and so that affects the effectiveness of fiscal policy. The second limit of fiscal policy is time lags, which are defined as the period of time from when an economic imbalance is first recognized and acknowledged until the time that a chosen fiscal policy tool achieves its desired result. The third limit is public debt. Any expansionary fiscal policy leads to a higher budget deficit, while a contractionary policy reduces deficits. This is also another sort of side limit inside of public debt is crowding out, which is basically that when the government increases its spending or borrowing, this reduces investment or consumption in the private sector. This occurs because the government borrowing leads to higher interest rates, discouraging private investment and consumption. So they sort of crowd out the private industry. Within time lags, there are three time lags. The first is an information lag, which is the time it takes to collect the data, confirm the trend, and understand the current state of the economy. The second is a formulation lag, which is the time it takes to decide on and pass legislation. This is because the fiscal policy must be drafted, proposed in Congress, approved in the House of Representatives, approved in the Senate, and then signed by the President. The third time lag is an implementation lag, which is the fact that it takes time for the full impact of the fiscal policy to affect the economy. Now, in the 2020 stimulus, you can see the graph of aggregate demand and aggregate supply. There was a massive economic downturn with a massive negative demand shock, and short-run aggregate supply decreased as a result of supply chain issues. So we saw sort of a huge decrease in the economy, and our output was less than our potential output by a lot. And the response was expansionary fiscal policy in the form of a $2.2 trillion stimulus package. The issues with the stimulus package, while it helped with the unemployment and poverty that was experienced during the crisis, it had unintended consequences. There was a massive increase in inflation due to expansionary fiscal policy and public debt. Again, back to the first slide, or the second slide, public debt increased by 2.2 trillion, which will eventually have to pay off.